June 5th, 1993 was an unfortunate day in the lives of Ian and Therese Cartwright. The couple, along with their quadruplets, planned to spend time with their family in the sea. They didn't know what awaited them. Everything changed in a few minutes. Therese was brutally attacked by an enormous white shark. She faced severe injuries and escaped from the shark attack, but the second time, she couldn't escape the tremendous predator. How did they face the shark attack? How did they do it themselves? Were the children injured? Join us as we take a deep dive into this analysis of park rangers and wild animals. Before we get into this terrible event, I kindly ask you to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you become a member of the Fierce Zone family. Thank you in advance. The family reached the northern coast of Tasmania and dived into the water. They were all excited to spend quality time with their loved ones. All they craved was family time, and they expected everything to go smoothly. There was nothing to interrupt their family time. Little did they know that they were about to face what would be one of the most dangerous shark attacks. Therese and Ian decided to take out an Australian college vessel, Rivers Co., to reach the uninhabited island, located far away from the coastal area. It was home to numerous sea lions. Many people visit this island for various purposes. It's the best place for snorkeling and diving. There were a few who visited the island to see sea lions. Around 400 sea lions would be born each year on the island. It's a mesmerizing place to have a peaceful swim. All these factors attracted the family to have their diving experience here. But how did they know about the island? Usually, people prefer common tourist spots to spend with their family. There are many exotic beaches and resorts to give them the time of their lives, but Therese was the one who insisted on visiting this island. Her job demands her to work with the staff of the Australian Maritime College. Its functions are under the University of Tasmania. Stephen was a lecturer at the Australian Maritime College. He, along with Josephine Osborne, a staff in the same college, invited Therese and her family for the diving experience. Stephen, anyway, had to visit the island as part of his research. He wanted to observe the sea lions and note any changes in their behavior. Therese and Josephine were happy to accompany Stephen. It was Therese who asked Stephen whether she could bring her family with her. He approved her request, as the 5 children of hers were well behaved and they could have a good time. Sea lions have a playful nature and they would never attack them. Therese had the confidence that her children and husband would be safe during the dive. The sea lions would play with their children and would not cause any harm. She felt relaxed during the whole experience. When the entire team covered 150 meters from the island, they decided to release the anchor and prepare for the dive. Ian held their children, and they wanted the sea lions playfully approaching them. The children were in joy and they were thrilled to watch the adorable sea lions. The scenic beauty of the island mesmerized their eyes. They were fully captivated by the beauty of the island. As Ian looked after the children, Therese, Stephen, and Josephine wore their gear and were all prepared for their dive. They made sure that the oxygen tank was filled and took all the precautionary methods to save their lives. Stephen helped Therese to wear her gear, and even assured her that everything would be okay. Before the dive, Therese felt a bit tense as she had brought all of her family. She feared that something unfortunate would happen. She convinced herself to go with her team and not abandon them. She volunteered to dive first. She was the one who went into the water at first. Then Stephen followed her. Josephine joined both of them in a matter of minutes. Their dive went pretty smoothly at first. Everything was under control and went according to their calculation. But soon, their joy ended as the white shark started circling their boat. Therese knew how to handle crucial situations under the water due to her expertise in scuba diving. She was a professional diver but lost her touch as it's been more than a year since she went swimming. It's the rule among the divers that they need to signal their directions and conditions underwater. It would be more effective to have better communication and navigate among themselves. Therese knew the rule, but she signaled them a false condition. She faced problems with her regulator. It was unfit for her. Instead of signaling her teammates, she swam above the water and adjusted her regulator. In the meantime, Stephen and Josephine continued their dive on the belief that Therese was behind them. It took them some time to realize that Therese was missing from their team. Stephen explores the sea and was completely concentrated on the sea lions. They have to check every activity of the sea lions to learn their behavior. Josephine also analyzed the habitat and the sea lions. But where was Therese? Before we continue with this dreadful event, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Thank you in advance. Ian and another crew member noticed Therese from a distance struggling to adjust her regulator. They shouted at her to speed up and catch along with the team. They encouraged her to continue the dive before she completely lost them. Therese dived into the depths as she spotted her two friends, Stephen and Josephine, who had dived 20 meters. She followed them, and that's when they realized Therese was far behind them. Stephen and Josephine swam to the bottom of the ocean and they were analyzing the rocks. Therese was gazing at the scenic beauty of the water and she took more time to catch up with the rest of the team. She tried to move faster, but the pressure in her ear was unbearable. Every time she tried to go down, the pressure in her ear was increasing. She couldn't resolve the issue. She stopped swimming and worked on her ear pressure. Suddenly, she was completely knocked out by a huge predator. Therese didn't expect a shark attack in the middle of the sea. A huge commotion was noticed by Stephen and Josephine. They saw the huge white shark approaching Therese. They wanted to save her, but it would endanger them. They hid behind huge rocks and watched their friend being attacked by the shark. The shark threw Therese to the other side by biting into her torso. She was brutally dragged into the water as she screamed for her life. The air bubbles were visible. For a few minutes, the shark was missing. The water turned red and Stephen thought that the shark left. The team was sure that if given immediate medical assistance, the life of Therese could be saved. As they slowly swam towards Therese, the dangerous shark emerged from the water filled with blood. It took the wrath on Therese by biting her into pieces. The body of Therese was dismembered and her diving suit was torn away. As the shark left the premises, Stephen and Josephine swam to the surface. They couldn't believe what they saw. The water was filled with blood and they couldn't understand whether Therese was alive or not. They signaled Ian and the other crew member to bring over their boat to them. Ian and the children were waiting for Therese, but as soon as he realized that Therese was not with Stephen and Josephine, he calculated that something happened to her. As Stephen explained the situation to Ian and the crew member, they immediately jumped into the water looking for Therese. The children were looked after by Josephine and Stephen. The 11-month-old baby of Therese and Ian couldn't stop crying. The children realized that something unfortunate happened to their mother. They got scared and constantly asked for their mother. Josephine and Stephen tried to calm them down, but they didn't have an answer to where their mother was. They immediately called for help and medical assistance. The rescue mission took place, but it was of no use. No trace of Therese. Was she dead? After 2 days, from the shore, a body part of Therese was found. It confirmed the death of Therese. It was an extremely devastating moment for the family of Therese, as till then they had hoped that their mom would return. But things went downhill as they found the torn part leg of their beloved mother. Her 5 children would have to live their lives without their mother by their side. And since you stuck with me till the end, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. And if you haven't already, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.